Attention retirees, SSDI and SSI recipients. January is shaping up to be a big month. If you rely on Social Security benefits, you might notice something unusual. Some people could see 3 checks around this period. Why? Because of the way January payments line up with the new year and the updated cost of living changes. Here's what's happening. Most Social Security retirement and disability benefits will continue to follow the standard schedule, payments arriving on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Wednesday of the month depending on your birth date. But there's a twist. Since SSI payments cannot be issued on a federal holiday, the January SSI payment will be sent early, landing at the end of December instead of New Year's Day. That results in December having 2 deposits, one for December and one for January, which makes it look like you're receiving an extra check. And the changes don't stop there. A new 2.8% cost of living adjustment, COLA, takes effect for 2026, adding an average of about $56 more per month to many beneficiaries' payments. That means slightly bigger checks, but also a new schedule you need to track so you know exactly when your money will arrive. So the big question is, are you one of the people who might see 3 checks? What should you expect in early January? And how much more will your benefit increase because of the COLA? Stay with me, we're breaking down everything you need to know. And before we jump in, make sure to hit the like button to keep getting accurate Social Security updates. Now that we've set the stage and you understand why January is already stirring up so many questions, let's break this down in a way that's simple, clear, and actually useful. Because if you're like most people who depend on Social Security, whether it's retirement benefits, SSDI, or SSI, the last thing you want is confusion about when your next check is coming or why the amount is changing. So let's take a deep breath together and walk through exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for you and your household budget as we head into the start of the new year. January has always been a month of transition, but this year the changes feel more significant. Not because the system is being redesigned from the ground up, but because several smaller factors are piling on top of each other at once. You have the updated cost of living adjustment, which ensures benefits rise alongside inflation. You have the standard payment schedule, which sorts people based on their birthdays. And then you have the SSI rule that prohibits payments from being issued on federal holidays. When all of those collide around the new year, the result is what many people describe as an extra check, even though technically it's just a shifted payment that arrives earlier than usual. Still, the effect is the same, more money showing up within the same month, and that alone is enough to grab anyone's attention. So let's start by talking about payment timing, because this is the part that catches people off guard every single year. For most Social Security beneficiaries, the schedule is straightforward. Your payment comes on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Wednesday of the month depending on when your birthday falls. That part isn't changing. What does change are the specific dates on the calendar, which shift year to year. But for SSI recipients, the pattern is a little different. SSI always aims to pay on the 1st of the month, but if the 1st lands on a weekend or a federal holiday like New Year's Day, the payment is automatically moved to the business day before. This is where people start to see what looks like a double payment in December. Because the January SSI check doesn't wait until after the holiday, it gets deposited at the end of December instead. It's perfectly normal. It's perfectly lawful. And it happens every time January 1 Street interferes with the payment schedule. But what makes this year feel different is the combination of that early deposit with the new COLA increase happening at the same time. So the check that comes early is also slightly bigger than before, which can make it even more noticeable. The cost of living adjustment is the next thing that deserves our attention. Every year, the SSA calculates the COLA based on inflation measured through specific consumer indexes. If prices go up, benefits go up. If inflation is low, the COLA is small. But this year's adjustment lands at 2.8%, which is meaningful, not huge, not record-breaking, but enough to provide tangible relief for many households. Think of it this way, even a modest increase matters when you're dealing with groceries, utilities, medications, and transportation that all cost more than they did a year ago. And while some people overlook COLA or assume it doesn't make much difference, the truth is that over time these adjustments compound. They may not feel dramatic in the moment, but they help prevent buying power from eroding too quickly. Of course, hearing that your check will be slightly higher is one thing, but actually seeing the new amount hit your account is another. People often wonder, when exactly will I see the increased amount? And that depends on which category you fall into. For those on SSI, the increased January payment lands at the end of December. For Social Security retirement and disability beneficiaries, the new, higher payment will appear with your regularly scheduled January deposit. There's no action required on your part, no forms to fill out, no phone calls to make. The adjustment is automatic, but understanding when your specific deposit arrives is crucial, especially if you're budgeting carefully or dealing with recurring bills that hit on certain dates. Speaking of budgeting, that's another reason this January is getting so much attention. When a payment arrives early, especially a larger payment, some people feel like they're suddenly ahead, only to discover midway through January that they've spent part of what was meant for the next month. It's a completely human response. When you see two deposits coming within a short period, it feels like bonus money. But planning ahead is essential. Even if it feels like December brought extra cash, it's really January's payment showing up early. So as tempting as it may be to treat it like something additional, it's safer to mentally assign it to the upcoming month's expenses. That way, you don't begin January on the back foot. Now let's talk about the group that's been asking the biggest question lately, the people wondering if they'll get 3 checks. The answer depends entirely on your situation. Only individuals receiving SSI are affected by the early January payment. If you receive both SSI and another form of Social Security benefit, say retirement or disability, you might technically see 3 deposits in a short window. But it's important to remember that one of those deposits is not a bonus, not a special grant, not a stimulus, and not a new benefit program. It's simply the January SSI payment arriving a bit ahead of schedule. But the psychological effect of seeing multiple deposits can still be positive. It gives people breathing room at a time when expenses often spike during the holiday season and the start of the new year. The bigger story here, though, is not about the illusion of extra payments. It's about predictability and stability. In a world where so many things feel uncertain, prices, healthcare, taxes, employment, Social Security remains one of the most stable and reliable systems people rely on. Knowing when your check comes and how much it will be isn't just convenient, it's essential for planning your life, your bills, your health, and your well-being. And when changes happen, even small ones, clarity matters. That's why videos like this are so important, because staying informed keeps you in control instead of feeling blindsided by shifts in the schedule or adjustments to the benefit amount. Now let's shift gears and talk about what the COLA increase actually means in more practical terms. A 2.8% rise might seem modest at first glance, but imagine your monthly benefit growing steadily year after year. A small increase today becomes a larger cumulative difference over 5, 10, or 20 years. This matters especially for retirees and people with disabilities who rely on Social Security as their primary income source. Inflation doesn't take a break. Every expense from bread to bus fare has crept upward, and COLA helps prevent your fixed income from falling behind. It's not perfect, but it's designed to protect the most vulnerable from losing too much purchasing power. Another key point to understand is that the COLA is not influenced by political decisions in the moment. It's formula-driven. It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what Congress debates. Inflation drives the calculation, not politics. That's why some years the COLA is large, like during high inflation periods, and other years it's much smaller. The goal is consistency and fairness. So when you hear people talking about COLA as if it's a gift, remember that it's not a bonus. It's an adjustment tied directly to economic conditions, and you're entitled to it by law. Let's also clear up a misconception that tends to circulate this time of year. Some people think the early January SSI payment is evidence of Social Security running out of money or rushing to distribute funds before changes occur. That's simply not true. The payment timing rules have existed for decades. Anytime a payment date conflicts with a holiday, the deposit moves automatically to the previous business day. It's not rushed. It's not improvised. It's routine. Understanding this can help ease the anxiety that sometimes comes with unexpected deposits. As we move deeper into the year, the schedule will return to normal. February, March, April, and so on will follow the same structure you're used to. The early January payment is not the start of a new pattern, it's a temporary shift caused by the holiday. So while it feels unusual now, the rest of the year will look familiar. One thing you should always keep in mind is the importance of monitoring your account. Even though Social Security payments are extremely reliable, it's wise to double-check your deposits, especially during months with holiday adjustments. If you use direct deposit, the funds usually hit early in the morning, sometimes even before your bank opens. If you use a direct express card, the timing can vary slightly, but it's still consistent. And if something ever seems off, even if it's just a mistaken date or an amount that doesn't match what you expected, don't ignore it. The SSA encourages beneficiaries to report discrepancies immediately so they can investigate and resolve them quickly. Now, let's talk about the bigger financial picture. Many people use January as a moment to reassess their income and plan for the year ahead. With the COLA increase raising your monthly benefit, even modestly, this can be a good time to rework your budget, adjust recurring bills, or build a bit of savings if possible. It's also a good moment to revisit any benefits you may be eligible for that you haven't applied for yet. For example, many people qualify for assistance programs like SNAP, Medicaid, Energy Aid, or low-income subsidies for medications but never apply because they assume they won't qualify. But the reality is that programs often adjust their income thresholds alongside COLA increases. So if you narrowly missed qualifying before, it may be worth revisiting. Before we wrap up, I want to emphasize something important: staying informed is your strongest financial tool. Social Security is one of the most valuable programs in the country, and understanding how it works, especially when payment schedules shift, gives you confidence, clarity, and peace of mind. As we head into January, don't let rumors or misinformation distract you. The system is functioning as it always does. Payments are coming on time. The COLA increase is locked in. And if you're receiving SSI, the early deposit at the end of December is perfectly normal. So as you plan your month, your year, and your finances, keep this information in mind and stay alert for any updates. And of course, the best way to stay updated is by sticking with channels that share accurate information without confusion. And if you haven't already, make sure you like this video right now so YouTube continues recommending important updates like this directly to you.